I was talking with Clay Eels earlier, and kind of talking about whether John Prine was in fact Brian's mailman or not. I heard that story. And I asked Katrina if that was true. She said, she told me that. She said, I don't know that. And then I asked Clay, he said, well, I'm not sure about that. But I'm a believer in the notion that the facts should never get in the way of a good story. So we're gonna pretend for the next half hour or so that John Prine was Steve Goodman, or Brian Gill's mailman. There's a lot of talented musicians in Moscow, many of them in this room. I always had the impression about Brian that, and maybe it came through in what you were saying, Clay, reading Brian's words about truth. I always just felt like Brian always kind of cut through to me. And it didn't matter whether he was playing a silly song or what he was doing, but there was a quality to Brian's music that, for me, set him apart from anyone else in town. And I think there were more accomplished singers and more accomplished musicians, but I always had a special fondness for Brian's music. Of course, Brian had a gift for encouraging people. Katrina was speaking about that, as well as Emily. And so he had a fondness for people who were encouragers, like Steve Goodman, who encouraged John Prine, and Howard Bogan and Armstrong. I remember talking to Brian about Howard Bogan and Armstrong, and I was thrilled that somebody actually knew who I was talking about. And of course, I knew like A to B about them, and he knew A to Z because of his musical knowledge. So it was always good to hear Brian talk and sing. And so this is a John Prine song, and on the recording, Steve Goodman harmonizes, and Clay, of course, wrote about Steve Goodman, and Brian is featured in that. And if you want to know anything about Brian and Steve and John, Clay's your man. Anyway. Paradise by John Prine. Yeah, I think I should go over this. Joan played last night at One World, so she knows all of this technical stuff.
That's different kind of.
Well, that was easy. You know what you're doing. When I was a child, my family was travel down to western Kentucky, where my parents were born. There's a backward old town that's often remembered so many times that my memories are worn. And Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay. But I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train has hauled away. Well, sometimes we float right down the Green River, the abandoned old prison down by Erie Hill, where the air smelled like snakes and we shoot with our pistols, but empty pop bottles was all we would kill. And Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay. Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late the world's largest shovels, and they tortured the timber, and they stripped all the land. And they dug for their coal, and the land was forsaken, and they wrote it all down as the progress of man. And Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coach is home away. I let my ashes flow down the Green River, let my soul roll on up to the Rochester Dam. I'll be halfway to heaven with paradise waiting, 5 miles away from wherever I am. And Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train is home in the way.